So there's two things to keep in mind. Number one, it's always best to start where you are, okay? With the market, you know the best. If you can start local, that's the best place to start, especially with ground up, because it is so technical and there are so many things that can trip you up. So you want to become an expert in your market or in a market, okay? So if your market's not big enough, and this is the other thing too, you need to think about what it is you're going to do. So if you're going to be limited in your geography, if you say, I just want to stay in this metropolitan area, then you're going to have to broaden your asset type. So if you want to build 200 to 300 unit apartment buildings, class A, you're going to have to spread out your geography a little bit because you can't build but so many in most areas. If you want to stay in the same area, then you can be a developer of all kinds of things. So number one, you got to think about, what do you want to develop? Do you want to do multifamily, retail, this, that, and the other? Or do you want to be what's called opportunistic, which is me? So that's where you fill the holes and fill the gaps. And the same thing kind of applies. You can take that on a bigger scale. So if your area doesn't have enough land or doesn't have enough people or whatever, your market's just not good for development, doesn't need anything, you want to find another market. You want to find markets that have the highest and best growth potential. You want positive net migration. So you want an area where more people are moving in than moving out, because that's generally going to be creating more jobs. Like the Northeast is like, nobody wants to be in the Northeast. Everybody's moving south and west, right? And to the Sun Belt areas in terms of where the population is. And you can find these demographic trends on like U-Haul. They have the rental trucks, U-Haul rental trucks, they have a great website on moving demographics. And of course, you can just Google that now with ChatGPT. You can put darn near any question in there you want to know. Well, what's the number one top state in the country and city for positive net migration that's creating the most jobs? And it'll spit out like demographics and numbers and all that. So that's how you identify a market. And then you become an expert in that market. So how do you know where to do something? Once you've identified where you want to be, now you need to be an expert in that market. And it goes back to what I said earlier. What are the demographics? What are the income levels? What's missing in the markets? And for a developer, well, you need land. So where's the vacant land that needs to be developed? Where is there land for sale? Maybe there's an area where the growth is trending, right? So most areas like Orlando, Florida, right? So you got a major metro area there, and then all of the growth kind of goes outward, or Atlanta, Georgia, or Charlotte, North Carolina, or Phoenix, Arizona, or Las Vegas, Nevada. You have these major city metro areas. Then you get the suburbs around that start growing. And that's generally where you're going to want to be, is in that path to development. Or you can become an infill developer where you go into the big major cities and you look for either vacant land or you look for what's called covered land. Covered land is something that has future higher and best use development potential, but has something else sitting on it. Could be a small retail building that can go up 8 stories, right, down in the city. You want to understand the nuances of where it is you want to be, what kind of density there is, and start looking at these things. And it's going to be competitive. The bigger the market, the more valuable the site, the more other developers are going to know about it, and it's going to be on their radar and they've looked at it. But as you start going out towards the path of progress, that's where you get more opportunities where there's major subdivisions. Generally, where you ever see major residential subdivisions under development, there's going to be commercial parcels out front that are available for you to buy, and they're already done in terms of water, sewer, utilities. They're pad-ready sites where all you got to do is get your building approved, and you can take that down and build the building. Another thing is you take these urban cores and you can do adaptive reuse. You can do redevelopment. That's kind of what I specialized in, was going into downtown areas and taking old buildings, could be warehouses, could be manufacturing sites, could be a school, could be a hospital, and redoing those and repurposing those into multi-tenant type properties. So those are the other options. So it really boils down to, you got to be an expert at what you're doing, pick a niche and go, be an expert in the market that you're going to, and understand where the growth is, and you want to stay ahead of that growth.